All right, we are live. I think everything's set up correctly. I hope to goodness so. Um, did a little sound check previously, but you know how that goes. Welcome to another Tasty Tuesday round with Telex here, and soon to join us is going to be Malt Muser. Eric is going to be joining us for a little fun with some Glenlivet today. And we're going to be doing a couple really good ones. We're going to start off with Glenlivet Nadurra Oloroso first fill. And this is going to be the 60.4% version. First fill Oloroso sherry. There are several different Nadurra type of Glenlivets. We'll get into that in a second and talk about some of the differences and similarities and things of that nature. Let's see. We'll also be taking a look at the Glenlivet Archive 21. And this is another interesting one, not a typical 21 year by any means, because there's some special supposed goodness in that one that we'll have to take an even closer look at and see how that goes. So definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun deal. And hopefully you guys are as thirsty as I am, because I am super duper thirsty. Glenlivet's got like a special place in my heart. It's one of the first overall Scotch distilleries I remember kind of liking from the get-go. I'll be talking with some of you guys and Malt about some of your maybe favorite first loves, that type of thing. Hey, there's Glenn's. There's Silverlock. Good to see you, man. And Scotch Comic. Hey, good to see you. Not sure if you've been to the channel before. If you have, welcome back. If not, then good to see you. T Squared, what's up? Good to see you too, man. What are some of your alls? We're going to be looking at Glenlivet today. A couple good drams, and what are some of your favorite distilleries that you fell in love with right off your Scotch journey? And you might have started in bourbon or rye or something else and then went to Scotch. You might have went to Scotch right away. But either way, what are some of your favorite pick like three. The first three distilleries you fell in love with the fastest. I think that's a good theme. For me, it's tough, man. Glenlivet is definitely one of the top first three that I was like, this is something I could get into. Laphroaig was actually one of the first three as well that I fell in love with really quickly. Something about that TCP iodine, which you wouldn't think, you would like it, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Telex intros to Eric are always good. I appreciate it. Oh, here we got a few already coming in. Let's see. Let me go back here a little bit. Good to see you, Daniel. Speaking of first loves, Walt Whiskey reviews. Yep, he'll be coming here shortly. I gotta make sure I send him his invite, which I think I already sent it, but let's just double check. Yeah, I did. Glenlivet 12 has been a staple in my bar for years. Same here. I was the first one that I really fell in love with. Next to Laphroaig, and I'll get to the third one here in a little bit. Subscribed last week. Great material. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Cohen, good to see you, man. Hey, man. Managed to stay a bit more after cool chat with everyone, Eric, and we already stepped a lot into it. Eric tried. Cool. Had the 18 and 21 year expressions as well. The 18 that you had, Silver, was it the old one or the new one? I was a little disappointed with the newest one. I liked the old one a lot better. They changed the ABV on us. Just curious what your thoughts of was that. T-Square's got a good intro from Deanston, Wolfburn, and Laphroaig. Wow, I'm not surprised about Deanston. Well, I am surprised about Deanston because they're not very well known, and for you to have that first love right off the bat, with something like Deanston is surprising because it's not very accessible usually. It might depend on what part of the country you're at too. Wolfburn is surprising because that's a brand new distillery they got some good bottles out, but nothing aged of any sort because they're so new. I have yet to try one. I'd like to try one. So if it's in your top 3 first loves, that's a really good sign. And we share Laphroaig as one of our first loves, so that's pretty cool. Hey, good to see you there, Nestor. Oh, he's going to be comparing the 5 different 12-year-olds. That's a good one. To keep an eye on that from Greg. That would be a good show. Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, and Highland Park. Yes. Now you brought up a good one that I might. Highland Park might be my third. I'm kind of wondering if that could be the third secret special first love. Glenfiddich I do enjoy too. I know some people don't get into it as much as some, but I enjoy both Glenfiddich and Glenlivet actually. Highland Park, Ardbeg, and Springbank. Wow. Those are surprisingly early favorites, but Springbank is another one I fell in love with really quickly. Wow, they're coming in. While we're waiting here, let's get a Malt in here and see what he has to say.
Hey!
How's it going, man?
Happy Tasty Tuesday, my friend. What's happening?
We are, I just put a kind of a question off the top of my head for the guys just coming to the show, and welcome as well. What are first pick 3 of the first distilleries that you fell in love with from the get-go on your Scotch journey? It could be really, really early on, preferable, but if it's something that you didn't find out till later on and you fell in love with it, right away, that I guess that could count too. But
sure.
What are some of your favorite 3s?
That's a great question. Laphroaig.
We share that one.
Glenmorangie.
That is a good one.
And Highland Park.
That's the one that I'm debating. People have been chiming out, and I'm thinking Highland Park's probably my third, but then someone else said Springbank, and that's another one that I fell in love with pretty early on.
That one took me a while. I mean, here's the thing. The Highland Park thing is very contingent. I got very early in my journey. I got the 12, the 15, and then splurged on my first ever expensive bottle over $100, which was the 18. And while it wasn't like a mind-blowing thing for me, I just loved their profile. And in fact, I just got to taste a new Highland Park on my happy hour tonight, shared by Andrew Page. I just tried it's called the Highland Park Full Volume.
Yes, that is a good bottle, man.
Yeah, I just tried that for the first time, so that was cool. So yeah, I think those are my 3. Glenmorangie was like, wow, wine finishes, this is amazing. And it was really nice and easily sippable. And then, Laphroaig was by far, Laphroaig was the one when it came to the peat. It was just holy shit, And then, Highland Park probably. Highland Park.
Are you going to do a review later on the full volume, or is that one you're going to do at all on your channel?
Well, if I end up picking up a bottle of it, I will. I was actually just afforded a sample by a friend of the show, Andrew Page, who's probably in the house right now if I haven't seen him.
Yeah, he's up here.
Yeah. Andrew sent that to me, which was super cool. So yeah, I'm. Maybe I'll if I find a bottle at a good price, I'll grab it. My general feeling on it was. I was impressed by the complexity level in it, and how it wasn't the dark bourbon notes I expected. But here's for me personally, and this is not a slight against the whiskey; it's just my preference. When I go for a Highland Park, I want a little sherry. I need a little sherry in that HP, and this one doesn't have it. And while it did have a nod of golden, gold fruits and golden yellow, pear and some of that kind of yellow apple, Macintosh apples and stuff. It just didn't have that sherry that I just expect from a Highland Park, which is why that would have been a great whiskey to do blind.
Oh yeah, no, I hear you. It's funny, like if you're looking for a straightforward bourbon influenced whiskey, the Springbank 14 bourbon wood and the full volume by Highland Park are pretty good. I think decent because that full volume is actually an age stated. It's got like what 14 years, I think it is.
No, well, they were saying it's got a vintage on it, and it is 11 or it's
11.
17 years.
Oh, 17 years, my fault.
Yeah.
So that even better. I mean, that's right up there with the light and the dark ages. So isn't it funny that that's one of those very few releases that they very well could have put a big fat number on it. They could have, really tried to market it as a
They did it with
17.
Rio, with the Tattoo Rioja cast. They put that
Exactly, yeah. But I'm surprised that they didn't. Maybe that was one of those very few failings that the Highland Park marketing team lost on, because usually they're really nailing it.
Yeah.
Usually,
we had a pretty raucous conversation about Highland Park's marketing just before we came over. But I hear you on that.
Usually they nail it, but this time they might have just missed the mark a little bit on hammering that age statement. But I think they have learned their lesson, because, like you said, as soon as they did the Twisted Tattoo, they were all over the age the whole time they were stamping it. I want to get back real fast to comment. Andrew, yes, unfortunately, the old 18, it was 43, and unfortunately, the new one, which I did do a review on a while back, was the 40% ABV, and it went from like a 4.25 out of 5 for me down to like a 3.75 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, that was real tragic. I remember watching your video about that, bro, and I was like, oh man, like I'm not even a message. Like they're going in the wrong direction on that for sure. I really liked the 43%er. In fact, I was quite bullish on it. But man, that 40% just sounds like fucking disaster. So I was like, I remember the look on your face when you were recording that. You were just like the contempt. Telex ain't playing with this dude. He's pissed.
I'm just surprised that people would bother to digress. Like if I had a great product and if I was used to releasing it at a certain strength, and then all of a sudden my levels got low or whatever it may be, I would try to find a way not to release that product until it's deemed ready. I mean, I know these guys probably have shortcuts they have to find and ways to get around obstacles. But
I totally hear you. And like when you look at some of the other distilleries and the direction they're going, you see Ardbeg putting out something with a 5-year-old age statement. You see like Bunnahavens are all 46 point something now. Like. I'm not saying it's universal, but there's a general like slight trajectory towards craft. But like Glenlivet's decision is like, now we're gonna go the other way. and here, you want to know why? It's because they can. Because they can. They can.
Well, they're just used to.
Because I won't go and buy another 18-year-old, and I 43%. I would buy an old bottle. I quite liked it.
Same here.
Yeah, man.
People are just gonna. They might still buy the brand. It's so well known, but the problem though is they got to keep in mind that your brand might already be out there to the point where you don't have to be careful, but over time, if you're not careful, that brand loyalty is going to slowly decline. So I hope they keep that in mind.
Sad though. I mean, in terms of people who I know who are like avid Scotch drinkers, I don't know how many like Glenlivet fanboys I've met in my day. It's not that they're bad. It's just that like, people are like, oh my God, the new Glenlivet is out.
Yeah, not like that. I mean, they do have a soft spot in my catalog as far as my Scotch journey. They're my top like first 3 loves. I think it's Glenlivet, Laphroaig, and I think I might have to say Springbank, but that has shifted over time. Like you said, like Glenmorangie was definitely up there with the honorable mention, and another one was I did like Deanston. It wasn't Deanston. It was another one that someone mentioned. What was that other one you mentioned besides Glenmorangie? Highland Park. That was the one. That was another one that was definitely. If it wasn't top 3, it was definitely 4 or 5 out of first loves. I have to say.
My 3 were Laphroaig, Glenmorangie, and Highland Park, but Deanston? Was it Deanston or?
That's one that would be I would consider a pretty quick first love right off the bat when I first had it, but it wasn't something that I got to have early in my
Early in the
Scotch
journey.
journey. So,
Glenfarclas?
Glenfarclas and I have a love-hate relationship where I like the funk sometimes of their stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes the sulfuric notes are so strong that it's like I think it gets in the way of the whiskey, but it definitely distracts from it a little bit sometimes for me. So
what about Macallan, man? Like, how many Macallans, like of your first 10 bottles, how many were Macallan?
The 12 Sherry Oak was definitely early on in the journey. And it wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. I think just when you put it up against other ones that are really solid, like Glendronach 12 and I mean, I wouldn't say Aberlour does not qualify, but what's another like early on sherry 12-year-old?
I mean, yeah, I mean, the Lasanta.
Lasanta, yeah. The Glenmorangie Lasanta like kicks its ass, man. It's like I don't know. I just didn't really get into them. I think the Macallan thing it's not as bad as hyped as Dalmore, but it's definitely in the top hyped whiskeys, I think, of all time.
Oh, for sure. And name recognition, when you're getting into Scotch, Glenlivet and, Macallan, I mean, we all know what Macallan is. Who doesn't know Macallan?
It might be one of those brands like Greg was just saying that there's such great Macallans before. I think it's one of those brands that maybe they had their peak at some point earlier. And they're suffering from that thing I just talked about, where you get your name out there for so much, and then you start making shortcuts and little weird things, cutting corners, and it really brings you down a little bit.
They're big, man. I mean, they don't. I don't know. I mean, I've not had a Macallan from the 1990s or the 80s, but I still think that 12 Sherry Oak is one of the, like, I wish it wasn't $70 fucking.
That's the thing. Like, they don't cut corners with craft. They cut corners with pricing, I think. They suffer, I think, from more of the price issues, but because their craft is actually pretty decent.
Man, it's you're not just buying a whiskey, you're buying an image. And that's same with, Johnny Walker Blue Label. You're buying something for its image. Macallan looks like a serious whiskey. It's presented as a serious whiskey. Like, it's just, that's what people think. And, I guess
I'm surprised they made it 3 hours to get into that damn Macallan 18 bottle, though. I mean, after spending $320 on a bottle of whiskey, you would think that they would make that sucker so easy to open that you just have to look at the damn thing. It would just pop open for you.
That was the whiskey gods telling you that you made a mistake, homie.
I think you're right, because I had to get a knife.
No, we don't want you to open this. Flip it, sell it to somebody, get some of your money back. Yeah, I mean, we had very diverging opinions on that, but nonetheless, I mean, still it was good, just not $300 good.
No, I agree with you there. I was the first person to say, man, this is overpriced.
Yeah, you were. So,
even it is tasty.
Before we get into these Glenlivets, have you got anything new in the last week we're sharing with the folks?
Well, yes and no, sort of. I did get some funds together. Eric and I have been looking at different bottles here and there, and we got a couple good ones that I have to pick up. Really excited to do that Amrut Atama, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's the peated portwood version. It's like about $160 a bottle, but there's only like 300 of these things. And somehow I found two, which is crazy.
Oh, nice, man.
It's going to be really good. So Tom's holding two of us. I'm going to pick both of us up that. And then I also got to get you some funds for some bottles. We got the Cragganmore 20 coming down. We got the Gelleke 23 exceptional cask series version. I think it's like a cask strength. Yeah. And then we also got that really cool old Laphroaig 2015 Carriages with the malted the self barley version that they did. That was going to be really good too.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's a hell of a pour. I'm excited to get into that one for sure. So
I'll definitely got to talk to you about a couple options when it comes to a couple bottles afterwards. So either later on or maybe tomorrow or the next day, I'll have to get with you on that. But what about you?
Not a ton. So, I was just doing this on the show, which I got to get you a sample of. Bunnahabhain Físil 2020 This is a Moina. I think it's about 9 years old or 10 years old. Moina Amontillado finish.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Only 1,600 bottles of it, and so yeah, I cracked that bad boy open and tasted it. It's delicious.
Did you also have the Laphroaig Amontillado from 2014
I
carriages?
do. I have actually 3 of those. Not to sound like a dick, but I do. I got one up there. I do have 3 of those. I stocked up early when they were around, and so we'll get into that. Maybe we do an Amontillado peated show, and where we'll do the Laphroaig and the Buna. I
was wondering if you already had one open of those 2014 carriages ones.
I don't
That's
know.
Okay.
It's been sitting there, and I haven't.
Well, it's a classic, but I would like to see what your thoughts of comparison wise, because they are pretty similar, I think, in profile.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. But I don't know if the Bunnahaven's peated or not. Is it?
Yeah, this is a Moina, so this one's peated. So they have
nice
Fisial release from 2020, which is like a 16 or 17-year-old Madeira, which is the non-peated version. But yeah, this is a peated. I went for the peated.
I don't blame you. That should be
speaking of 2020 Fisials, I also got Kalila. This is the 16-year-old Fisil from 2020. It's finished in Amoroso treated hogshead. So if you've had the Oscar Distiller's Edition, it's that same type of finish.
That's 16 years too, man. I bet that's glorious, because I didn't even know Kalila had a 16-year anything.
So yeah, I got that. There's 2 others. So I got the new Kilkerran heavily peated, which is batch 3.
Wow.
I know batch 1, there was it was younger, and I think people had differing opinions on, but this one's supposed to be quite good.
Ooh,
and
nice.
Then Paul John, I got another Paul John. I found the Christmas edition from 2019, which is the only other one released in the US.
Oh wow, man.
This one is 46%. It's heavily peated, and then they're lightly peated malt, and it's finished in PX.
Wow. I bet that's pretty good too. Yeah.
That's oh wait, there is one other. Renaissance.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's that too. So that
you just put that one like underneath the radar, like I wouldn't know.
I forgot about it. Yeah, so there's an Ardbeg Renaissance.
How could you forget about the Renaissance? That's one of the first early bottles, man. Yeah,
I might have 2 of them potentially, so I'll let you know.
Yes, please do.
we'll figure that out. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, nothing else new, I don't think, on my end. So we got some Glenlivets to get into, though.
Yes, we do, man. I've been chomping at the bit. I'm not sure. I guess we should probably. What do you guys think? ABV or age? I would think we would want to do the Nadurra first. My only worry, though, is it's such a high ABV if it will blow us out for the second. But I didn't really feel blown out by the first time we did it like that.
My general feeling is it won't blow you out. Yeah, I'm fine with going with the Nadurra. I think it'll be interesting to go to the 21 afterwards, because we'll be able to really differentiate the difference between what happens when you have a good, healthy age on something versus the unfortunate reality of what this Nadurra has going on, which I can totally set the table for. So I don't know. I mean, whatever you feel like, I'm fine with it that way, but.
Dustin thought the Nadurra is super hot, so he thought maybe the age first. Anybody else have a preference or a idea on that one? It's a tough one. I remember we did this last, and I was worried. I don't think it was super duper hot. Anybody else have a
I would say, like, and if this was like a peated Nadurra, I probably would agree that we do it.
Yeah. I guess let's just do the Nadurra first, and then that's fine, because we can always have some water and a chip or something between it.
Sure, there you go. Okay, all right. So I will. This is my bottle, so I'll set the table.
Well, if you don't mind, let me give you like just a quick thing before you get into the tail of the tape. One thing to keep in mind of these guys, of Nadurras from Glenlivet, there's a lot of these. The original, a lot of you guys are probably familiar with, is the 16-year version. That one had a lot of great praise. I think I had one a long time ago, but it was unfortunately one of those tastings where you're trying a lot of different things. So it probably, I missed a lot of the great nuances from it. But they have a travel retail version of what we're about to have. But the thing you got to be careful of is that one's very low ABV. It's only 48% comparatively to 60.4. So keep that in mind.
Really?
Yeah. It's called the Glenlivet Nadurra Oloroso Travel Retail. And it doesn't rate near as well as this one when you're looking at overall scope.
Really?
So, yeah. And there's also a first fill selection cast strength version that's 63.15, but it's all first fill American white oak. So there's lots of different versions of this you have to keep in mind when you're looking around.
Real talk.
Go ahead, man. I just want to give like a little.
No, that's a good one. And that actually bleeds right into what I was going to say. So Glenlivet, Space Cider. Everybody knows what Glenlivet is. The Nadurra line presently is around a $70 average price for the bottles, and there are 3 versions of it that you can get. Basically, they are all cast strength. Nadurra is Gaelic for natural. They have an Oloroso release. They have a bourbon release, and then they have a peated release. And there's full maturation in Oloroso in the case of this one. It's been a line from Glenlivet that's been around for a while, and I happen to have here, just as a point of contrast, one of the older ones.
Oh, wow.
This is Glenlivet Nadurra. I think this is 2012. This box is really trashed. But what this was originally released as, even in its Glenlivet wrapping, this was originally a 16-year-old cast strength.
There you got one right there. That's crazy.
So this is 2013. I think it's all bourbon, if I'm not mistaken. Both of these are non-chill filtered, but 16 years old versus who knows? And so I think they switched it over, I think in 2015, 2014. I'm not even really sure. But basically, if you see this on the shelf these days, the chances of you seeing a 16-year-old version of it are slim to none. If you do see a 16-year-old for some reason, I would buy it on the spot, as they are quite good. But this, the one that we're going to look at tonight is a. Hang on, let me just whatever. With this ridiculous packaging. So the one we're looking at tonight is this bad boy here. This is a non-age statement. It looks like it's from 2016. Cast strength, all first fill Oloroso. It is non-chill filtered.
Nice.
And it is at a whopping 60.4% ABV. So basically what we're looking at is Glenlivet went from having age statements to having non-age statements. And this is the world we're living in. This is the one you're going to probably run into 9 times out of 10, either the Oloroso, the peated, or the bourbon. And that's the tail of the tape here. I do appreciate that they give you a ton of information about it. All first.
What about the? Sorry, go ahead.
And no chill filtration. So there you
go. What about the coloring? Did they say about anything about the coloring on that one?
They don't. It does not say anything. Which, considering how much information they actually have on here, I'm gonna guess maybe it's not natural color.
Gotcha.
They do say it's natural, but this is Nadurra is natural, but they don't say it, so we don't know. Let's just assume no. So maybe they put a little color in this. Anyways, so this is a hefty non-age statement sherry bomb. That is the color you're looking at.
Definitely. It's I'm just looking to see if I see any information about color at all anywhere. Definitely, at least this first fill sherry. That tells me that it's probably, I don't know. I mean, the only reason why I'm hesitant about deeming it not being colored is we don't know what the age is. If I knew it was like at least like a 12 to 13, then it doesn't look like it would be that dark. But you never know when it comes to some of this stuff.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. It's like I said, these run around like $75, I think, and they're not exclusive in any serious way.
The ABV, man, is crazy high. You could tell because the legs are just like very slowly running down in a good way. So the viscosity is probably pretty high on this too. I imagine it's probably a good thick.
For sure.
Heavy.
Yeah, I'll let you go right ahead first on this one, and then we can dive in.
Oh wow! It's like the first thing I got notes wise is crazy. It's like Golden Grams, like wow. Golden Grams cereal.
I totally see that.
Oh man, and really nice big bouquet of. It's like a combination of marigold flowers but oranges at the same time. It's like this really massive amount of really nice florals and fruit. Sweetness, like some honey. A little bit of spice, but I can't really tell. Wouldn't call it cinnamon or anything like that, but maybe like a little bit of a pepper, like a white pepper or something. Lemons, getting a little bit of citrus in there. Oh man, that's nice.
Yeah, the nose, I'm with you on that. The Golden Grams thing is really funny. I mean, I do get a lot of those kind of very bright, generic red fruits, the apple cider, the cinnamon nutmeg thing, the kind of Christmas. But I'll say this, everything for me hits a wall. And the wall is like a wall of ethanol. Like everything's like great, and then at the end you're just like burned, and you're like, oh yeah, this is.
It is a strong one. You can't really get too deep in there.
But behind that alcohol ethanol note for me, it's quite pleasant. I mean, it smells like a really delicious cherry bomb, no doubt.
I love the level of like
spice. It's not as juicy of the red fruits. It's very like dry red fruits.
I love the amount though of the. It's almost got like a peaches and that cinnamon. At first, I wasn't sure if it was cinnamon, and then the wave of spice has gotten more and more over time.
Yep,
it's definitely a cinnamon stick almost kind of level too.
Maybe a little bit of clove in the background.
Yeah. Wow, almost like maybe a little ginger.
Great nose. All in all.
It is. I mean, you can definitely get a lot of different things going on, and nothing's. I mean, the alcohol is a bit powerful, but thankfully the fruits are there and are enough to the sweetness level keeps that at bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the medium fruits that you get.
Big time.
All right, let's have a little sippy.
Y'all, happy tasting.
Oh, you definitely feel that one, man. Ooh, that's a good one, though. Wow. That is like, wow. It's like a combination of a bit of honey and a really nice.
Man, were you at the candy store today, bro? I'm talking about Golden Grams and honey. Is it $19.89 right now? Because I feel like I'm in the candy store, bro.
I haven't been. Maybe.
Did you hit the nail on the head with that bit of honey, though? I'm not even gonna lie. He's making bit of honey references.
I couldn't help it. It's like I haven't. Maybe it's because I haven't been to a candy store in ages. But it's like like bit of honey, and you get like also like a big mouthful of like peach cobbler too. It's crazy. It's good though. It's
for me.
It's definitely
sweet. It's more black cherry. It's more like currant, or like not currant, pomegranate.
There is a good amount of pomegranate.
It's like it's juicy and then tart. Like when you eat those seeds and they're like you get the sweet flavor and then it's like really drying because there's a hell of a lot of drying that's going on the.
And the finish is a big ton of apricots. Oh my lord! I mean, it's like apricot central in a good way. It's just this one's definitely going to need a little bit of water for me, I think, to really enjoy it. I mean, it's enjoyable, But man, you're right. It's one of the more drying drams I've had in a while.
And the finish for me, I think, is like it falls off a cliff in a way that is really profound. I mean, it's literally like a Mack truck hitting a wall. Like I feel like you're riding this roller coaster. It's like you're on a roller coaster and you're just like going up, and you're like, hell yeah, this is getting better and better, and then it's just like fucking drops. Falls quick. It's short, medium. I'm left with a little bit of dryingness, a little bit of ethanol, slight mint, maybe a little bit like vanilla, like vanilla and like some kind of just like mulled wine.
Yeah, it's got like kind of like a stewed fruit kind of apricot thing going on for me.
To put it.
Stone kind of. It's interesting. It is very short for as powerful as that first wave of apricots hit, and then it dried so much that it left me wanting some water, which is really weird. I usually don't want to drink water after I get it finished. I want to finish the last really long time. But this is so drying that I have to have something else.
Yeah.
I put a couple of drops in, so we'll see how that goes.
It tames down that heat a bit. Like I'm not getting as much of it's more rounded and softer now. I'm not getting as much of that ethanol hit, but it's still there a little.
I'm getting more of the caramels and the vanilla, almost like a brown sugar on the nose now. It does tame it a lot with a couple drops, even in a good way. It's not bad. Like a light to medium brown sugar.
You pick up any kind of like sulfur notes? Like slightly, or maybe
I'm thinking
like a dry red wine. I mean, I'm thinking like a.
I might not call it that, but I would call it heather. I'm getting like a heather, almost like a Highland Park kind of a feel to the. It's not peat, but it's like something earthy that's combined with floral notes that's kind of on an earthy edge or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go as far as sulfuric, but you might. Maybe you're getting like a tannin or something out of it somehow.
Well, the tannins are pretty heavy for me. Oh, there's a nice, like water, I feel like obviously has done this injustice. There's a nice, it's almost like a sappy wood spice note, almost like a concentrated, like dark maple syrup or dark molasses thing that kind of just pokes its head through the otherwise very like kind of drying red fruit.
It brought the spice level up a little bit too after a couple of drops, I think.
Yeah, water helps this for sure, and not surprisingly.
Might even be getting a little bit of like a walnut too in there. Maybe that's what I'm getting instead of the sulfur. Maybe I'm getting it as like a slight bitter minerality, but not in a bad way. Just enough to cut some of the sweetness and some of the sugary confection stuff going on. Wow, yeah, that reminds me a lot like a really good combination between like a walnut and some dates and some The spice level is pretty higher. It's got some white pepper in there. Maybe even a combination of a little bit of black, but mostly white pepper. It's very.
It's such a loud whiskey.
It's got some pith.
Fucking
on the finish.
It's so loud. It's so everything about it screams intensity, and like. There's nothing there's nothing rounded. There's nothing subtle. It is just a we were talking about Highland Park full volume earlier. Like, this is fucking full volume cherry bomb. If there ever was one, this would define the word in your Wikipedia page. Like, holy shit.
This has definitely got this is like the power chord of whiskey. This is like if AC/DC would do whiskey, this is what they would give you.
Yeah.
It's very loud and proud. It's not. There's no grace or subtlety going on. It's very in your face, but it's enjoyable. It's very powerful though. There's a lot of. Oh, I poured the wrong one. Hold on. Let me get another glass. I've got more sample, but I poured the wrong deal. There we go. I'll save that for later. Let's see here. It's got like a marmalade, orange, like
yeah,
it's kind of a combination of like orange marmalade with the pith. At the end, it's still dry after the little bit of water too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to neat for a little bit, then I'm going to add some more water and see what I get. Yes, we'll be able to taste the 21-year, Dustin. Don't you worry, your pretty self.
Well, we'll be fine on that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to drink a big glass of water and have a little bit of a chip on the side. And we went through this last time we were doing the Glencadam, I think, or what was it?
I'm not worried. I'm not worried, in for a simple reason. I knew what I was getting into with this whiskey, and you'll know in a second probably why I thought I would think so.
Is this messing with them? There's a bit of cherries on the side in this too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're in final score, final analysis realm of this yet, Telex, but when you're ready, let me know.
I'm getting there. I'm gonna actually put a little more water than I usually would on this because this has got lots of room. And after a few drops, it did change it nicely, but it wasn't as good of a change as I was hoping. So let me put a couple more extra drops on here just to see, because sometimes I have run across some bottles like especially even some of the really what you might consider like boutique ones, like the SMWS independent bottles, some of that boutique whiskey company and things like that. And sometimes you get these really high ABV bottles, and you're used to putting a couple of drops, and sometimes you do have to add like a what you might consider like almost like a teaspoon or whatever of
for sure.
Water.
Speaking of teaspoons, I'm going to grab a little bit more water. You work on that. I'll be right back.
Sure thing, man. Let's see here. The fruit is still there. The stewed properties are kind of still more, at least they're more subtle. Some of the sweetness is coming back out again. Definitely needs something to handle that ethanol level. This is pretty high. That is much better than it was before. Definitely needs a higher level of water than I'm usually putting on whiskey. Let's see if Malt's back. I think he just came back. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is much better with a higher dose of water, I think.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. It definitely needs to be brought down a couple notches. And I see you got the 21 all lined up all right there, brother. I'm going to actually get the 21 in the glass here in a second and let that baby start resting.
Yeah, I accidentally poured it out another glass, and I was like, well, hell, I'll have two glasses. That's fine. It's not like I'm not going to drink two of them anyway.
Yeah, there are worse things in life, for sure.
Yeah, the heavier water is needed to get. Now I'm getting more of that really nice sweetness that I was missing on the first two go rounds.
Caramel and the toffee at all?
That's coming through a lot more. It's not just the caramel and toffee, but there's also this really nice high level of like cinnamon spread, almost like one of those Danish things. Like
okay. We're getting all pastry chef with it, man. All right.
Yeah, this one feels like a really good classic. There's this one Glenfiddich. It's a 19-year-old Age of Discovery bourbon cask that's actually pretty well done, and this reminds me of that. The way you have to get this to that level, though, is to get that ABV down just a bit, but you can still keep it around 55 and still be, pretty good shape, I'd say.
Yeah.
Spice level's still high too.
Yeah, you get that value. I mean, buying cask strength is always great. If you're not going to drink it neat, you're getting a little more value for your dollar.
The only rough one about this one is the fact that you do have to play with this one to get it at that right sweet spot. And it's still, even with that much water, it's still pretty hefty hot. It's definitely no tame, subtle, graceful whiskey.
Yeah.
It's got a nice, it's got a really nice finish now. Now it's not as drying as it was too. Thank God, because it was way too dry, neat. I think you want to do a score first?
Well, it was my pour. You go first.
All right. I do enjoy this whiskey a lot. It's definitely not for an intro noob or even a first or second year. This is, I think, only for a dram for somebody that's been doing this for a few years. I'd say you got to be willing to play with water. It's okay neat, but even after a couple of drops, still not enough. I had to put a lot on there. Very much more enjoyable after.
Yeah,
I'd say, wow. Well, I wish there was an age statement, so I do have to knock it a little bit for that. I do love the ABV as being high as it is, so that's a plus. I love the fact that it's first fill Oloroso. That's a plus. I love the fact that it's not chill filtered, so that's a plus. But the coloring thing could be an issue. With that said, with the amount of play you have to do with it and the time and the lack of grace, it's not a bad whiskey. It's just one of those that I'm going to be careful of if I ever do get another bottle of this, even if it's any of the Nadurras. I've had the one that I had was not very enjoyable before. It was the one that was the peated Nadurra. It was the you guys one second.
The peated. Yeah, there's that peated one. I have yet to have that, which I'd love to try at some point.
That one to me was it just wasn't my deal. I gave that one a 3 out of 5. It was about average for me, and only because I didn't really get to enjoy a lot of it because it was very lemon forward. It had a lot of lemon citrus things going on. Yeah, if you like lemon bars and lemon like drops and things like that, you're gonna love that whiskey. If you're like me and you don't like either of those things, you're gonna hate that whiskey. I appreciated it for being well crafted. That's why I kept it still to a 3 out of 5. But if I was going by like subjective taste, I would have gave it like a 1.5 out of 5. That's all.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very lemony. This one, thankfully, is more of like a peach, apricot, orange, citrus, and it's got lots of nice spice. So I'm gonna bump this one up. I'm debating on how high should I go. I'm thinking this is to me is like a 3.5 out of 5. I think because it is above average. It's not just slightly. It is a bit above, but I'm not gonna put it in the same like echelon group as some of my favorites because it is
sure.
Got some issues here and there, but it's overall still very enjoyable, and I don't regret drinking it by any means.
Right on, man.
Cool. I love that nose now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great segue. Like the nose on this, I really enjoy. The nose invites me into a really great sherry experience. I think what my unfortunate feeling about this whiskey is that it's akin to brand new windshield wipers on a broken windshield, or it's the scaffolding outside of a great piece of art. In that it is, for me, it was just very much downhill after the nice nose. I thought the finish lacked a lot. It feels like it's like a whiskey it's like you're showing somebody what sherry's supposed to taste like, but it lacks all depth and nuance. I think it's a real disappointment, and especially at the like $75 to $80 price range. When I think even NAS first fill Olorosos, I mean, I would implore somebody to spend the extra $10, $15 if they have to get a Abuna. I think the Abuna blows the doors off this whiskey. It's all for me. It's like it's all shock and no substance for the most part. I do think with a lot of water, as you mentioned, it brings some stuff out. But at the price point, like this is honestly for me, just man, that nose. Here's the last thing I'll say. If I was drinking this in a blind tasting, I would be so fucking excited by the nose on this because it's delicious. It's rich. It's reminding me of the Balvenie. It's the Balvenie 15 sherry. You know, it's a little brighter than the Abuna, but it just falls apart, man. Like it just really is like somebody's punching you with what sherry is supposed to taste like, but then there's nothing behind it. I'm going to end up a little lower than you on this one, man. I mean, and then again, I'm taking money into consideration. I think if I didn't include the $80 price tag, this is maybe it's maybe a 275. I mean, I'm going to go solid 2.5 on this, which is definitely recommend you try it before you buy it. It's not that it's bad. It's competent. It's just, it's so hot. The lack of finish, I feel like for $80, like,
if I was taking the price into account, I would probably go down a bit too on that one.
I'm quite good with you. I mean, if price wasn't in consideration, you know, I'm still in that 2.5, 2.75 range. I just feel like it's missing what it needs.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
It doesn't deliver. It just doesn't deliver. I mean,
it needs water. It needs a lot of water, I think.
Think about another cast strength whiskey, which was NAS the Highland Park, which is comparable price, Highland Park cast strength. I mean, I didn't love that either, but it was, I would say, a full score, a point better than this. I mean, that's a 3.5, 3.75 for me.
Are you taking account like putting a lot of water on this one though, as far as like your?
I feel like it just doesn't have any. There's nothing. Again, it's like
brand new. To me, it was a lot better after a lot of water. That's why I asked that.
Yeah, it just has. There's no. The structure behind it is built on soggy ground, man. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm 2.5, and like, I'll be honest. I wouldn't buy this again personally. Maybe.
Yeah, me neither.
Maybe there are some folks who would like. I'm trying to figure out like why buy this. 80. Right. I mean, honestly, I've seen this upwards of 90.
That's way too high. I mean, if it was 55 to 60, I'd say it might be worth a try, but that's about where I would draw the line on that one. Yeah, and it's sad because the ABV is so high that you almost have to spend more to get it. It was just really not worth it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there could have been something here, and it just needs a little bit more. And now it could be the batch. I know there's a ton of different batches, but look, the fact that I'm not even interested in getting into that says something, right? You know, like,
no, you're right. I mean, and to answer Dustin's deal, because he was saying that peated was one of his favorites. They have 16-year versions, I think, of the peated as well. Mine was not a 16, but you said NES, so there you go. He liked that one. He must like lemons, because I thought that was a very a lemony one. Greg agreed that he thought it was one of the weaker ones for him, but yeah, a lot of these things might suffer from batch variation, possibly. You never know with some of this stuff, but
maybe, right?
That's the tough thing with
nothing. There's nothing to write home about here. Like I mean,
Yeah.
If you're going to point somebody to an alternative at the price point, like this is what, like, let's just say on average $80, right? Relatively decent price, obviously. But like,
The weird
you can get a goddamn 16-year-old Highland Park Rioja cask for $5 to $10 more than this, which is like, I think, an exponentially better whiskey. I mean, even if you want to go sherry bombs, Glenfarclaugh's 15, even the Glenfarclaugh's 17, which is close range wise. Highland Park, or not Highland Park, Glendronach 15 Revival is like
a
couple dollars more.
That's a much better whiskey than this one.
The value you're getting for $5 to $10 more on that versus this it's not even a question.
Yeah, even that the Balvenie single
strength. I mean, fuck, that would be a fun one to compare.
Even the Balvenie first fill sherry, which is a little more, I know, price wise than this, it's still a hell of a lot better of a whiskey for, around $100. It's surprising how much more than this one is, as far as price wise goes. Because 75, I thought was even a little high, but
yeah, it just, I don't know, man.
Especially when you don't have an age. That's the weird thing to me is how are they justifying?
I imagine it would have been like, if you bought it 5 years ago when it was at the same price but had a 16-year-old age statement, I bet it would have probably been pretty great.
Besides ABV, how are they justifying the high price is my question, because that's the only thing you could base it off of, really. Because they're not using any specialized casks in the first fill Oloroso sherry, but that's not really all that specialized or anything. But that's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say 5. This is a try before you buy type thing. I mean, I just feel like it's not bad, it's not great, it's just middling in a way that it just misses. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to this 21 because I have a feeling this is going to be redemptive in a certain way. And honestly, like, there are a couple of Glenlivets out there that I think are worth spending money on. One of them, and maybe the one, is the first fill bourbon Glenlivet 12. I think it's a 12 first fill bourbon. Have you ever seen that?
I have seen it as far as seen it online. I've not seen it in person, but I haven't really done any hard looking. I'll have to ask Tom if he has that bottle, maybe, because I have heard it's a good one.
Dustin says he doesn't get the price issue. The price issue is versus alternatives. I'm not saying that the whiskey in and of itself is not justified by the price they're charging for it. I'm saying that you can get whiskeys that I think are better within the same price range that are going to give you the same experience or a better experience, i.e. Glenlivet or Glendronach 15 Revival. You want a sherry bomb? That is a 15 age statement, 46%. It's a much higher quality dram than this Nadurra is. That's my point. I'm not suggesting that like they could make this cheaper given the fact that it's literally no water added. Not my point at all. The point is more that it's comparative to what else is on the market that gives you a comparable experience. And I think even when taking that into consideration, it doesn't even match up to those, I think. I mean, literally, there are some places you can get a bottle of Abuna for like, yeah, but you could make the same argument though, Dustin, about Abuna. Like, you can get Abunas for $80 to $90 still in many places, and I would argue that that's a much better quality whiskey, and that's also cask strength, and that's also first fill Oloroso sherry. And so the point being is that, like, I mean, can you get more whiskey is like, I mean, I get it. Like, in theory, that makes total sense. But if the whiskey itself isn't very good and not an enjoyable experience,
exactly,
that you get more of something you don't want, or something that isn't really all that good.
Yeah, this one is just so.
That's the only point I'm making. So I don't know. I mean, we can agree to disagree on that, but that's the point I'm making.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Eric as far as, like, I can think even if you go down to a $50 to $60 price point, I could think of a lot more different whiskeys I would rather buy than this one, because of just the fact that you've got to take a lot more time to play with this one to get it at an enjoyable level. You have to use a lot of water to get it there. It's very, very, very drying without a lot of playing around with it. And I mean, who wants to spend that kind of time and effort on a whiskey that's not even $100? I mean, it's kind of one of those.
I'll be honest with you, Aberla or Abuna, which again is like literally maybe $10 more these days, but for the most part is in the same price range. I could drink that straight out of the bottle and not have a much more, I think, quote unquote, pleasant experience. I think it's just a better crafted whiskey.
Yeah. He's saying compared to like a $50 one. I mean, it's hard to find a $50 Scotch, period. But if you are going to force me, I would, even some of the Glenmorangie core range, I would enjoy more than drinking this one, out of the gate, because it's just better presented as far as it's already ready to go. It's you don't have to spend a lot of time playing around getting it to the right level and that kind of, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what,
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And like, again, for the average person who's like going out to buy a bottle of Scotch, they're paying, like, you pay for it and you expect it to be of a certain quality or deliver a certain thing. And I'm not sure that anybody, like you said, I mean, if you didn't know that you needed to dump fucking quarter gallon of water on this thing to make it more palatable, like, you'd be fucking disappointed, right? I
was close to throwing in the towel, being like, this is a 2 out of 5 whiskey, sorry, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it one last go, a third try to get the water amount right. And I'm glad I did, and it did bump it up to that, for me, like a 3.5, because I actually did enjoy it with a lot of water. But
yeah, I mean, here's another.
It was tough to get there.
I mean, you want a good heavy sherry whiskey. Unfortunately, not always easy to find in the U.S. And this is only 46%, and this is cheaper or at the same price. This is an Edgerdower, like 2008, dude, fucking blows the doors off.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that kind of thing. Like, the idea that especially in California, where I've seen Glendronach 15 revivals going for $75, comparing these two together would just be like hilarious.
Oh yeah. Let me get a chip. I'll be right back.
Yeah. He's got to get some chips. Let me catch up on the chat, see what's going on. What's up, everybody? Got 16 folks in. We're about to do some Glenlivet 21. We got a nice, healthy discussion on the Glenlivet Nadurra. Juan's got himself a Glenlivet Enigma. That one I have not had. That one I wouldn't. He said, you're dogging it for price. Well, I'm only dogging it for price in comparison. So I'm not dogging it for its price in and of itself. Maybe I should distinguish that a little more clearly. I'm not saying that whiskey shouldn't sell for $80. I'm saying it's a shit whiskey to sell for $80. What I'm saying is that the way that I rate things is about, like, should you spend your money on it? Is your money worth the price being asked for what you're getting? It isn't relative to, like, it's relative to what I think people should spend their money on. It's not relative to, like, in and of itself doesn't justify, like, Glenlivet is inflating the price of a cast strength sherry whiskey. That's not my point. So I hope that's clear. Yeah. Looks like Greg's going to sign off. Yeah, it is 4 a.m. for you, Greg.
Wow.
You've been out for a while, though, man. It's always good to shoot the shit with you, buddy.
Yeah, cheers, definitely. And hope to see you again soon on the.
Cheers to Paris.
Oh, he's in Paris?
He is. He
wow.
Drives us from France. Yeah, he's on the other side of the world.
Nice. Yeah, thanks so much for stopping by on that one. I am looking forward to. I've drank an entire British pint of water, and I have got a little chip action, and I got another British pint of water.
There you go, man.
I'm washing that 60%, away out of my mouth. I mean, even though it was a little hot, it didn't blow I don't think it blew my senses away where I can't, detect what's going on.
I had a sense that it might not, but
I'm the first one to admit if my palate's shot, but I think it's more important.
Yeah, I did I did a blind tasting of 8 cask strength bourbons the other night, and let me tell you, my palate was destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, or if you're doing like a
For the
lot,
most part. For the most part.
like I've done like 30 different types of really, really small drams at once with high cask strength stuff at one sitting. But unless you're doing that, or unless you're eating like food, I think is actually worse destroying someone's palate than drinking something. You know what I mean? Like if you eat
Right.
like a pizza with like lots of garlic and oregano and crap like that, that's gonna like destroy you compared to
Totally.
something else. But
So we got. I've had mine sitting in the glass for a little bit here, but whenever you're ready, you want to give us the tail of the tape on our second tasting tonight?
yes. Second hour of Tasty Tuesday, and I am still thirsty.
Me too.
Yeah, I had to pick this sucker up because some of you guys I don't think were here when I very first started the stream. The Glenlivet's got like a soft spot with me because it is one of the first bottles I fell in love with. This is a strange box where it has this like thing where it kind of shifts out.
Oh yeah.
Put the bottle in.
Slider.
It's actually and it's like an actual wood kind of a deal, which is kind of nice. It's they give batch numbers on these. This is 1219R for people that follow that to that degree. This is only 43%, but it is both ex-sherry and ex-bourbon on the cask type. It's going to be definitely no chill filtering. I'm pretty sure.
That's good news.
Let me verify before I double, triple state it. I didn't think it was. It actually isn't very descriptive on that, so maybe I can't say for sure. But I'd be surprised if they would do that at that level. But you never know. And unfortunately, though, they do not discuss the color. But you would hope that they would. This is from 2018.
2018.
This is when this bottle was. Was the copyright date on the box at least. So it must be at least a few years old, but I'm surprised they don't tell you more about the actual craft of some of these things. The good thing about this bottle is makes it kind of special and stick out. No, I'm sorry. This was a 2020 bottle. This is June 15th, 2020. I've got the timestamp on it, so it's newer than I thought. Never mind. This one is, even though it's dated in 21 years, this supposedly has whiskey aged 40 years and older in the bottle.
Really?
Yes. That's why they call this one the archive.
Interesting.
And
you said it's ex-bourbon, ex-sherry?
Yeah.
And it reminds me, man, and for folks who were tuning in a couple of weeks ago when we were doing the rum-finished whiskey, we had that Glenfiddich, was it 23 years or 21 years? That was only 40%, but ended up being
21, yeah,
really quite spectacular on the palate, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you're right. It was one of my favorite rum cask whiskeys I've had next to the Balvenie.
It definitely hit the nail on the head in terms of, wow, 40%, but this thing really packed a lot of flavor. So I'm becoming a little less, I don't know, prickish about the low ABVs on some of these older ones. Obviously, you'd love to see it higher, but I'm not saying it's going to be disqualifying.
The jury is out on the chill filtering. I would be surprised if they did that to this bottle, but you never know. It definitely does.
I don't know. It's probably is.
It definitely has coloring, though. I just verified there is coloring. So if you guys are ever curious, if you go to the Whiskey Exchange and do a search and go to their facts area, they'll give you whether or not something has coloring in it usually. And I think they get that information from Germany, if I had to take a guess, on why they're so good about displaying it. But that's all I know. That's what I got the information from. But yeah, I'm excited about it. As you can tell, I've had a little bit of
oh, you have, yeah,
a little bit of it here and there. But this is my first bottle I've ever had, and it's the first time I've ever tasted it. As far as outside of my own self pleasure deal. That doesn't sound right.
That's yourself, there, bro.
It reminds me of like
what you and the Glenlivet do down there in Maryland is your own business, but
isn't that like a New Order song? Playing with my pleasure zone.
All right.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go in for the nose here.
The train wheels are coming off, man.
I will tell you the nose on this again, very, very nice. It's much more warm and well-rounded than the other one. And by rounded, I mean like you're not getting a lot of just like sharp edges in your face. Granted, this is 12% less alcohol, but I will say it's a lot of that deep, dark sherry notes. I think the nose is predominantly sherry, but I do feel like there's some tropical fruit too. God.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on in this one.
Wonderful nose. Very sweet, very forward. I mean, there's not a lot of like deep spice. There's not a lot of dark notes. It's, there's vanilla, the caramel, very light caramel, a lot of the lighter bourbon notes coming through. It's very gentle. It's very elegant, but you can tell it has a little bit of depth to it.
I'm still getting, you're not getting the spice on the nose? I'm still getting some spice on the nose, I believe, here.
Not much. I mean, maybe just a little bit of oak spice, but nothing, or cinnamon, I'm sorry, but nothing like is really overpowering. The thing I'm getting the most is just kind of the like light fruit notes. I mean, you can tell it has some depth, but
I'm getting kind of a nuttiness from the nose too. Kind of, I'm not sure if I don't think I'd go as far as hazelnut, but definitely like a.
I wonder if that's where you're getting the spice from. I mean, hazelnut's got a little spice to it.
Yeah, I'm also getting that cinnamon you were talking about, though, too.
Yeah, it's like cinnamon sugar toast.
This one's got some sort of... I think this one's got more grape, like red and purple grape character to it than the other one did.
I'm with you on that.
A little bit more sweetness.
Plums.
Yeah, this one's got more, of the... Even though there's some stewed fruit quality in it, it's definitely a little more refined feeling. Wow.
There's also a nice... So this is going to sound a little strange. It's almost a little bit yeasty. You ever walk into like a brewery, like a tap room at a brewery where you get a little bit of that like brewer's yeast in the air? Slight hint of that going on in here.
There's something in the background too. It's like it's not a charring, but it's like a muskiness, like
I kind of hear what you're saying. Maybe it might be similar to what I'm picking up. It's a little bit more like abrasive for me. Like it smells like kind of like ale, like a malty ale,
like a meat. Gotcha.
I'm gonna go in for a taste though.
It has like I think it's wouldn't call it like a peated malt, but it's definitely got like a little smokiness to it, I think.
Really?
Like a musky smoke, kind of like a dingy, not dingy, a musky, like a old, like a classic feel kind of a smoke, but really, I mean, ultra subtle.
Yeah, I didn't pick up anything smoky. I mean, the closest I got was kind of yeasty. Ooh. Really nice full mouthfeel, oily. Really oily, viscous, man. It's got a lot of caramel, vanilla, oak char. There's some nice bright fruits coming through. Again, the tropical fruit thing. It's like slight pineapple, a little bit of coconut even. There's maybe a hint of, again, that thing you were talking about. Just it's like oak char. It's not like peat. It's like oak. It's like just like charred oak.
Yeah, it's got like this has almost got a combination of Scotch and rum-like characteristics to me. It's wild. It's like it's got maybe that's the high age coming in, but there's like some rummy, thick, ultra thick molassesy
Yeah.
treacle type notes going on.
Treacle. It's interesting. There's like there's even a little, I don't know if I want to say charcoal or not, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like an ashy tray without. It's not like a white ash tray. It's more like a real dark creosote. It's got a little bit of like a creosote thing going on.
Yeah. But man, a lot of just like nice mulled fruit notes, like mulled wine. There's the clove, which might be where that spice is coming through.
This one's definitely got hazelnuts on the taste. I thought I might have detected on the nose, not so much, but the taste has definitely got like a good amount of hazelnuts going on.
This is very different than the 18.
Oh yeah, huge difference.
Much richer, quite good. What did you say the price point was on this? Yeah, that hazelnut thing is unmistakable, especially at the end of the finish. There's so much hazelnut happening here.
This one runs a little higher for me, at least. I don't know about you guys where you find it, but around here it's about 280. It's on the higher end, but I tell you what, it's damn good. I mean, even though it's only at 43%, I mean, it's funny. It doesn't taste hot, but it tastes like it's a higher ABV than 43 without being in your face hot. It's weird. It's like if I had a guess at this ABV, I would have probably have said 46 to 48 is what it kind of registers for me.
Yeah. Do you get any of that like peach? It's almost like a stewed nectarine type thing. It's like darker than peach, but it's in that same wheelhouse.
And not only am I getting that, I'm also getting this really big wave of the dark chocolate with the hazelnuts. It's real coatingly got some thick cocoa nibs going on. Cocoa nibs and espresso. It's got some like almost like a mocha thing going on. This is very like complex for me.
I just noticed that Top Shelf Dustin said this was his first $100 plus bottle that he had.
Yeah. I can imagine it was 200 for him. Yeah, it's 280 now, man. It's gone up a bit in the prices, unfortunately, but it's solid. I mean, I know it sounds crazy to spend that much for 43% whiskey, but the complexity that this comes with it's still almost justified as that price point. I don't know. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it has a nice richness to it. Like I'm actually this is a little bit better than I was expecting. I like the 18. The 18 is so much like lighter and brighter, more honey. This has got a lot darker fruit notes. There's again that like slight charcoal, slight kind of, I don't know. It's not like peat. It's more like just like grill fire. I mean, just kind of like burnt, like charred oak thing going on here, which I like for the most part here.
I love the cocoa espresso.
Yeah.
It's almost got like a toasted almond thing going on too. I mean, it keeps changing for me. Like I keep going back and I'm.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of water.
Yeah, same here. Wow.
This is definitely the oldest Glenlivet I've had. You said this is 43%?
Yeah.
Let me know in the chat if anybody's had the Glenlivet. I know there were a couple of people already talking about it. But.
Oh, man. Yeah, as far as a wow, I don't know. The price point's got me, but we were talking about like some of the juice in here is 40 years old. I mean, that says a lot about what they're using.
Yeah.
They're definitely going for refinement. They're going for I wish they were focused more on the craft, though. That was a little disappointing with the whole is it colored and chill filtered crap. But with that aside, I do commend them for using some really old stuff in here, and I think I do taste the difference.
I'm getting the barley too. God, there's this nice malted barley grain note. A little bit of that honey.
Just
vanilla.
one drop for this one.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Wow, water really opens that up. The apple cinnamon spice, the caramel, the water just blew this thing wide open.
Really?
Yeah, wow. I put like 2 drops on.
Oh, wow. Huh. It definitely brings the first thing note I got. It was apples out of the nose when I went back.
Yeah. Just wait. It's like a red delicious apple. It's both drying yet sweet and tart. I'm not saying red delicious apples are anything to write home about, but in this whiskey, it's not bad.
I like the fact I still get the toasted chocolate aspects.
There's the Morse quality to it.
S'mores.
Yeah.
It does. It's funny. I mean, you can even get a graham cracker kind of a savory feel out of it, and even get a bit of a marshmallow.
Honey Nut Cheerios, man, like fucking Honey Nut Cheerios.
Almost like you could take a little bit of a marshmallow tone, even the sweetness of it. That's crazy.
Andrew Page said, I might buy the 18 someday. If you buy the 18, buy the one that's 43%. That one's quite good. 40% as Telex has alluded to, quite disappointing.
Dustin says to Steven, he just got his Glencairn 21 in it. It's just okay.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good whiskey. I love that.
That's a damn good whiskey. That's freaking unbelievably good, I thought, but
well, I think I'm probably ready to give you my thoughts on this one, man.
Okay, I'm getting some citrus notes on the nose now. That's pretty cool. I love how this one changes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and make your rounds while I'm still contemplating.
Well, this is a pretty tasty whiskey. I'm really enjoying the complexity of it. Again, it's proving much like the 40% 21-year-old Glenfiddich we had the other day, that ABV and everything. But it's so different than the 18. I feel like the 18 was so light, and it was so light. It was so it had so much of these nice honey, almost floral notes that were just all in harmony. This one is kind of all over the place, but not necessarily in a bad way. It's kind of enjoyable to pick it apart. But it's a whiskey that requires a lot of attention, I feel. There's just a lot happening here. Decent finish. A lot of just stewed fruits, apricot, orange. What did you say the price point was on this again?
$280 was the present one in Maryland. Now, you might be able to find it. Let me do a quick little search on this side and tell you what my price little search thing says, just for giggles, because it's usually good about pulling all over the world as far as overall, decent average price. So let's see what we get.
God, that fresh cut hay malt note in this is so interesting. It reminds me a bit of that Glenmorangie Cadwell estate.
You can get it in California right now for $200. It looks like, which makes me kind of mad because I've spent $280 on mine. It looks like you can go in California and get it from $200 to $220. So if you're going to get this one, I would. Oh yeah, California. I can see 4 or 5 places in California that have got good prices on this one.
So
at $200 to $220, we'll say.
$230, $240. I like to include cost in my analysis on whether or not you should buy it. As you know, my general vibe on this is that solid whiskey, but not sure I'm going to run to the store and get it. It does bring a lot to the table. It's a tick higher than a Glenmorangie 18 I'm thinking about, which is something I feel like is a little comparable to this. This has more darker fruit notes. I think this falls in that 3.75 range. So I think it's like a quality pour. I think definitely try it, and if you find it at a good price, maybe it's in your wheelhouse. But otherwise, like, it doesn't have anything that stands out as like oh yeah, I gotta get this one. So yeah, I'll sit comfortably at 3.75.
I hear you there. I'm trying to think of what I gave the because you brought up a good point. The Glenmorangie 18 was a solid pour, but this one I think is a step above it. I'm trying to debate on how far, and I'm trying to remember what I gave the Glenmorangie 18 to base this off of. I'm thinking I gave that one around I want to say a 4 or 4.25, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also like $100 some dollars cheaper, and but I feel like the profiles are similar.
Yeah,
like that honey note.
Yeah, price wise, I mean, the Glenmorangie 18 is definitely the better of the. Once you get above 100, I mean, you can actually get the Glenmorangie 18 for under 100, believe it or not. So that in itself is kind of amazing. So that's the only reason I might get that one first. But I wish Glenmorangie had a whiskey that was at this level, and they don't have one. I mean, Glenmorangie has the Signet, but that is an NAS that has some old stuff in it, but yet we don't know what it is.
Isn't it?
And it's about the same. I think it's like 210 to 180. I think it's like 180 for that one, somewhere in there. Yeah, it's a little cheaper. So they don't have something at this level at around 2 to 250. That's like a 20 to 21-year-old. I wish Glenmorangie had this to be a better comparison to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think this was a step above that on the thing. I love the fact that I don't need to put water on it. I can if I want to. It is one of the better 43% whiskey tastes I've ever had, I have to say.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I think the 40 years juice in there is helping a lot with this. I do detect a lot of complexity with this one. I do wish it was 46 to 48% just to give it more of a get that power. But Dustin says good luck getting a Signet for 180. Well, around here, it's pretty easy to get that for 180. 210 is actually the high point around Maryland. Usually you see them for like 180 on this area. But don't ask me to get you a Glendronach because that'll cost you a lot more. But either way, this one is, man. I don't know if I would go as low as 3.75, but I'm not going to go much higher than 4 if I go higher than 4. It's right around, I think, that level. It's really close to that Glenmorangie 18 level, a little bit higher. I'm going to say, man, it's a tough one. But I'm going to give it a 4.
We got
See, I wish I remember what I gave the Glenmorangie one, because if it was a 4, then this one would be maybe a 4.25. But because it is really, really enjoyable, even though it's not hot. I wish the mouth coat was a little heavier though, so I'm gonna stay with a 4. I think a 4 is a solid score. It's got a little bit of It's got a little bit of
It does have a little something, right? A little something going on here.
That stewed stone fruit thing is really intriguing. The finish lasts for quite a while on this one. I like comparatively. This one's not drying as much, even though it does have dried fruits. It's got the dried fruits without being drying, and I think that helps a bit too.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Oh, man. Andrew thinks that the Spios is better than the 21 Glenlivet.
Good old Spios, man.
It's good.
Still available, that is. That's such a cracker of a whiskey.
I do like this Bios a lot. I'm not sure if I would say it's better than this, though. I mean,
Yeah,
I know people like to knock it, but this is a pretty good, solid, complex whiskey just for. I mean, I think it's overpriced. I will say that. But the 40-year stuff is where they're getting, I think, the price point like hammered. Do you think it's worth it to like if you found it like 220? Do you think that would be too high?
Here's the thing. I don't think it's too high. I just don't. I mean, I don't think I would buy it. Maybe, right? I mean,
it's right at that level where it's like almost not worth it.
Yeah, it's like right in that. It's right in that spot of like, I don't know. I think it's. I mean, it's. I think it justifies its price. I mean, it's definitely good. Yeah, 220 is probably right, but
I do love the quality of the cask they have in this. That's at 43%. You can tell they're using high quality cask because it's so good at that ABV level. They don't have to boost it up to 50 to get a really nice, complex, deep, rich taste out of it.
Yeah.
I just wish it was. I wish instead of 280, I got it for 220. I would have felt a lot better at that price point.
Yeah. I can see that.
Swami, good to see you, man. Yeah, he's right. This feels like a really good, solid Father's Day kind of scotch. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything without being like in your face on any one particular piece. The only thing it doesn't do is the peat, but it's got that real nice, almost smoky quality to it. It reminds me of like a good, man, what's a really good scotch that's not peated, but that still tastes smoky? Besides your favorite Jura. Oh, man. Can you think of a good whiskey that's got a good smoky taste that's not peated?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, there's a bunch of them that have a little bit of an accent at one.
Yeah. I guess some of the
I don't know. It's sometimes hard to tell between whether it's good or it's not.
Saw me dropping the boom. Oh, man. Oh, that means it's meant for a dad that's used to drinking Johnny Red. That's horrible, man.
Johnny Red. Yikes.
He's thinking that this is peated, but it's not, Dustin. There's no peat in this one. This is not a peated scotch.
The Glenlivet 21 is peated?
The 21. It's not peated. No, he thinks it's peated, but there's smoky qualities to this. I will say I'm picking it up, but there is absolutely zero peat in
yeah, but
scotch.
He said 100%, so, you know.
He might think it's peated, but I do not. I've looked left
sources,
and right.
I mean, just drop some sources. I'd be interested. I didn't pick it up.
Me too, yeah. I mean,
let us know.
I researched
I
the
know
hell out
you
of this
are
one.
top shelf, Dustin, but, you know, secondary sources will help. It's not that we think. You guys think Macallan isn't.
But no, there's some great. I've had some great Macallan, like the Macallan Rare Black is peated. That's great scotch. That's one of my favorites of all time. But this is not a peated one that I could find any information on. If you can find that this is peated by any means, please. Because you got to remember, smoke does not. Smoke and peat
is top shelf after all. But I do want to know. I mean, if you have some info on it, please share it. I would love to hear about it.
Smoke and peat is not the same thing, and I hope people are realizing that. Black is their heavy peat. Well, yeah, you might call it heavy peat. I'm just saying that yes, there's Macallans out there that have smoky qualities that are peated, but this particular scotch, after looking left and right here and there, trying to find as much information about this, I could not find any peated. He's thinking most scotch is peated. I might disagree with you on that one if you look at across the board.
Hey, Vegas Art. Long time no see. How are you?
Get into that later.
Balvenie 21 is
21 is oaky without being peated. That's the Portwood. Yeah, that's a good. We're going. Malt and I are going to be looking at that one here pretty soon, actually.
Well, I think so.
4 or 5 weeks away, we'll be doing the Balvenie 21 Port and the Balvenie week of 14.
in the week of peat. Yeah.
Anyway, but I think it actually ended up being a pretty good overall. I have to say, I'm gonna have another glass. Matter of fact,
Do it.
gotta have it. Oh, I don't see why you think that's he's making us look dumb. Because if you look at the statistics, Swami, across the board, Scotch that's peated versus not peated. Do your homework and come back, and we'll have this conversation.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah, for some reason, Dustin thinks that most Scotch is peated, and if you look at the across the board, all 200-ish. I think what is there like 100? I got actually a list of all of them here. Let's take a quick look. Here we go. There are 95. We'll say basic, regular distilleries, not counting the new ones. There's another, 20 to 25. I don't even really consider them,
I'm sorry, what are you talking about?
They're basically trying to say that most Scotch contains peat, and I don't think that's actually the case because every time I've done any research
versus being a peated whiskey, is that what you're saying? There's a difference.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, yes, anytime I've ever done research, and they'll have to give me their sources because I completely disagree with it. If you look at all Scotch,
okay.
There's a high percentage that might be peated, but if you look at 50-50 or 40-60 or 75 whatever, you're going to find that I think most of them are not peated, but we'll see.
I mean, this sounds like a total yawn fest, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know why they're taking it to this degree, but I'll take a look for you. Yeah, I have not ever seen any of their normal releases, and we're talking like the 12, 15, those type of releases as having any peat at all. And peat, you have to have a ppm of like 1 or more. So if you can find a release from Glenfarclas, Dustin, that has more than 0 ppm in it, let me know, and I'd be happy to that's not. Please give me a source because I've yet to see any peated.
When's the last time you drank
Glenfarclas?
Glenfarclas, anyways?
Last time I've drank it?
Yeah.
Shoot, it's been a while, but my first bottle was a 12. I've got a 17.
No, I mean,
that
Andrew Page says most Scotch is non-peated based on that simple internet search. I mean, this is.
That's what I thought too.
I'm asking you what you. And so Cohen said the same thing. So I'm asking you, when's the last time you had a Glenfarclas? I mean, just don't feed the trolls, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised that they would even say something like that. But
it's a yawn fest, bro. It's a yawn fest. I mean, like we're arguing about semantics that mean absolutely nothing.
Well, I'm just surprised that they would even think that. But I guess to each their own. But the
subscribe to Dustin's whiskey channel so he can tell you all about this.
There you go.
We'll give it
I think he's lost his mind, but either way,
he's a whiskey guy now, so you should get on his whiskey tube. Dustin will give us an explainer on it, and I look forward to seeing it. The argument is about how like everything is peated because the water going through X river has X amount of peat in it. Therefore, it's considered a peated whiskey in some retrospect, and the idea that anybody can pick that out at 1% ppm. Then, yes, I agree with him.
That's insane.
But I do. I'm just saying, everybody should take a second and subscribe to his channel, and hopefully, we will get a nice explainer on it. Because I'm not serious. I don't disagree or agree with him. I just want to hear it. That'll be fun.
Back to Glenfarclas.
Yeah, when was the last time you had a Glenfarclas?
It's been a while since I've dabbled in that. I mean, they're okay. I like, the great thing about Glenfarclas is you can get a decent sherry whiskey at a really, really good price. The thing you got to take into account with them, to me, is the amount of sulfur that you usually run into a lot of their drams. For me, I don't dislike sulfur, but I have to be in the mood for it. And sometimes at certain levels, it definitely gets to be like a powerful note, and unless you're in the mood for it, it's kind of like, I actually
don't remember the last Glenfarclas I had. There were a couple. I think there were a couple. There was I've had the 15, which is something that you had to get internationally because they don't serve it here, which sucks because they should. It's 46% and really fucking delicious. In fact, I'll just bottle one of those for you. And it'll blow your mind because the Glenfarclas, the 25 and, a lot of these ones that you get in the US, which are like 43%ers, they come in at great prices, but they seem to kind of miss when it comes to complexity. The 15, which is, I don't understand why it's only a UK release. It's a fantastic one.
Yeah, the 17 I thought was pretty damn good as far as I know the 25 for the price you can get a great, if you feel like you're getting a lot for your money, but I would probably say that 17 is probably the best deal if you're going to, or the 15 maybe, one of the two, as far as getting a decent Glenfarclas for a really good price. What about you? What do you think?
I can't even remember the last time I had it. I think I had a sample of it once. And I thought it was better than the 25. I thought the 25 was like a wholly unremarkable one. But yeah, I would love to try the 17 again.
Yeah, thankfully it's not too hard to find. You can get the 17, 25, 12. The 15 is the one that is the harder one to find overseas, right?
Yeah, the 15 is one that you have to get. You basically have to get imported because they don't have it. Yeah, you and me both, Jack.
Yeah, the 15 is at 46, which is really nice. Let me see if I could figure out what some of these are. The 12 at 43 is kind of low. Is the 18 also 43? Yeah, that sucks, man. So you got to go to the 25 to get. I mean, that's still at 43. Jeez, they're all 43.
Yeah, they are, including their 20. Yeah, I think they're all 43, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the 15. The 15 is the only one at 46. That's interesting. No matter that, I'm surprised that
you said calling me a troll. Yeah, I did call you a troll, and I'll totally roll with that. So here's what I'm going to ask everybody. Because Dustin is so fixated on the fact that whiskey contains 1 or 2 to 3% peat. I want you to go over to topshelfwhiskey.whatever fucking YouTube channel and go and look at all his reviews and notice how he mentions that he gets a peat note in every whiskey that he gets because he can pick up 1 to 3% ppm. And you will notice that he's very consistent with this and that he picks it up in all the whiskeys because he has such a great palate and it's very subtle and every whiskey has peat and therefore both. So everybody should just go check it out. Because if that's the answer you want, then I'll give that to you.
I'm just going to go back and say, guys, I've done my own. I know people have done a lot of.
I mean, we'll check it after this date statement that you mentioned peat in all of them because they're all peated for the most part. So we'll just keep an eye on that. If this is the argument you want to have, happy to roll with it.
But either way, like I said, I've done my own research, and a lot of people have done their own research on this stuff. If anyone could find anything that says either A, that all this scotch has got, some level of peat at the distillery. I'm not talking about what water they use and all that.
It's an irrelevant point.
Well, either way, I'm not talking about the water. I'm talking about the actual process. If it's peated or not peated, it's pretty easy to find out, guys. It's not rocket science here. Come on. And if you want to get to the level of, okay, are there any microbes of this being in here? Then you need to go get a job at one of those guys that actually manufacture whiskeys where they're not even distilling, they're actually doing it in the laboratory. So fuck all that. All right. Anyway, Bunnahabhain, Bruichladdich, and Hazelburn have a touch of peat. No argument with these. Yeah, and some of them do. That's true. So,
as long as they're consistent, bro.
And we're all nerds trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So we're all on the same team. Everybody fucking get along, or I'm gonna come find you. All right. But let's move on from Glenfarclas. I'm sick of Glenfarclas. I don't even know how they got on this show. Bastards. This is a Glenlivet show.
It is a Glenlivet show.
But either way, no, it's really sad that, Glenlivet is one of those where I know a lot of people, like Cohen was kind of like, oh man, I usually don't even tune them out if ever I hear their name, but please don't do that to all the distilleries. There's a couple of distilleries that are well known that still put out some good drams from time to time. It's just the way it goes.
Like I said, man, if you've ever seen the Glenlivet, it's not the Nadurra. It's like the first fill. I don't know if it's the 12 first fill. Dustin actually might know about this because we talked about this once before. There's a Glenlivet. It's like first fill bourbon cask or something like that. It's like a 12-year-old first fill bourbon. I swear him and I talked about this once. And like that's a surprisingly solid pour. And comes in at a actually relatively reasonable price. Yeah, Nadurra 16, right. But there's this like first fill bourbon cask release that they do. I don't know if it's a 12 or if it's an NAS, but totally fucking solid stuff. And
hopefully they fix their 18, because that was such a downer to me, was seeing that the 18 went backward instead of forward. And that's where I will say, hey, you guys are not doing the right thing here.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, but
I'm trying this like weird Muser oak Japanese whiskey right now, which I have to admit is kind of underwhelming.
What is it?
It's the Kayo whiskey, Japanese Mizuno oak, unchill filtered, 43%, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, the Kayo, that's the one that when I was over at
it is the 12 first fill. Yeah, he's right.
That's the one that
we were talking about that. There's a Glenlivet 12-year-old first fill that was that's like first fill bourbon that actually was really, really fucking solid. And surprisingly so. I mean, he said that he saw it for $40.
Wow.
That is surprising because actually I've seen it a little bit more, but for $40, it's a must buy.
Yeah. The Glenallachie destroys most Baysides. There are good. There's some Glenallichies I've had over time, and we're going to be looking at some more coming up here hopefully shortly. If I can get my hands on that 25, that would be awesome. I do have my eye on one. But speaking of the Kayo one, it's funny. That's the one where I was at Tosh's place, that Japanese ramen bar that I like to go to, that he is a whiskey. He does all their whiskey, basically, gets it for them. And that was one of the ones he brought up. This was a few years ago before they got really big. I know they're one of the newer. Are they kind of like one of the newer Japanese distilleries that you see nowadays compared to some of the old stuff, the Kayo stuff?
Yeah, they're like relatively. I mean, I don't know. This is the only bottle I've ever bought from them. They're relatively new-ish, at least on the unpeated or on the U.S. market. Similar to like Fukano, which is like, again, another rice whiskey. I think this one is all rice, if I'm not mistaken. I would guess that it is. Yeah, of course they don't tell you very much on it. I mean, and this one doesn't have nearly the Mizunara deliciousness that you would want from it.
That's one thing I don't. It's one of the very few type of cast types I don't think I've actually got to try it. Is the Mizunara that if I can think, unless they don't have any of that in the Hibiki 21, right?
I don't know.
I was gonna say
I can't remember the last time I had a Hibiki 21. It actually might have been never.
that was a while back, but I was really lucky to kind of doing a quick one. I don't believe there was any in that. That's all blended. I know. I'm trying to find what kind of cast type they used for the. It was a damn good whiskey. I don't think there was. Oh, there was Japanese Mizunara in there. So never mind. I take that back. Ex-bourbon, American oak, ex-sherry, European oak, and Japanese Mizunara cast. So that was one of the I think that might have been the only, unless the. Let me see the other year they have. I think they have a. I know I had like a. Was it a 17? I believe. Let me see something real fast. Yeah, 17 and the 21. Those are the only two I think Japanese Mizunara cast influence whiskeys that I think I've ever tried, and they were memorable. They were that good. So that I'll take that back. It's been at least 3 or 4 years since I've had it. That's the only bad thing. I got lucky when I got to taste that thing, though. I'll have to.
Yeah, totally.
If I ever run into another a Hibiki or something like that, I'll definitely try to get you a little snag of that.
Yeah. Speaking of, man, let me set the table for what we got coming up next.
Yeah. Looks like the Lagavulin show is coming up soon.
Yeah, next week we got Lagavulin 16 and Lagavulin 18.
The Festival from 2019 or 18. Sorry, it's the Festival from 2018. It's the Lagavulin 18. I think you're going to find that one really fun to do. And then we get the Long Row show.
Yeah, and then after that we got Long Row. We got the 11 Pinot and the 11 Cab. And then after that, we got the Napoe Castle 14 Twinwood. And then we got the Redbreast 21 16. Or yeah, the Redbreast 21 on the 16th. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do some Irish.
That Long Row Red is a 13 cab, right?
Yeah, the Long Row Red. The Long Row 13 is the cab. So this is the Cabernet, the Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon.
Ooh. Chilean, I love it. I can't wait. And then we're going to be looking at the some slightly peated Kilchoman's from Jack Rose, and also a USA Batch 3 that Malt Muser was able to score for us. That's going to be awesome too, man.
Yeah, that one's going to be a lot of fun, man. I think you're really going to like it because it's heavily on the port.
Yeah, if you could find a really good port type of whiskey like that Kilchoman Ambruric we had, the mess, that was really, really, really good. I think, overall.
Looks like Swami's throwing some barbs. I mean, why are you here, bro? Like, do you not have anything better to do? Isn't there like a hockey game to watch? Like, are you just going to throw barbs? No, fuck it. I don't care. I mean, I get it, dude.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought
you're here just to antagonize people. It's boring. Like, you should have things to do with your life, homie. Go have another beer.
I thought he quit.
No, he can't quit. He's addicted to this. He needs the attention. He needs to go pour yourself another beer and, rattle off some more like sophomoric fucking bullshit, and, we'll all laugh about it and it'll be fun.
That's one thing I've never got to try yet is a White Horse version of the Lagavulin 16. I've heard glory stories about that. Have you ever had a really old version of the Lagavulin when they were like the White Horse deal?
No, I mean, yeah, right. I've seen them. They're like $3,000 a bottle.
Oh, are they? Jeez,
maybe Dustin might have had or Stephen Connor, who he's in the chat, maybe T Squared has had the chance to taste one of those. I would love to hear. Yeah, I'm sure he's your hero. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know why you're here. Like, if you're here to just be tired and boring and sophomoric, then, like, by all means, enjoy yourself.
So hard to remember.
Well, like, yeah, Eric Mad. You can't even spell my name right. Who's mad? Yeah, no, I have not had a white horse.
That's one thing I'd like to get to try. Oh, you can find them sometimes for 300 euros. You've seen that would be pretty cool if you could get your hands on one. Hopefully someday. I'd like to try it before I'm unable to drink them anymore. That's for sure. Because that's one thing I haven't tried is some really old versions of some of these distilleries that some of these great things have been mothballed in the 90s. I think are big. Wasn't Glenmorangie mothballed for a while at some point too? I think. I can't remember. I know they're both LVMH.
They're the ones that bought Ardbeg. They're the ones that bought Ardbeg after. No, I don't think they were mothballed. I mean, not in any time I know.
Oh, okay. Because I remember that they LVMH bought Ardbeg after, and I know they were like down in the 90s for a while. And Glenmorangie, I couldn't remember if they ever had like a lull between, that type of thing. But either way, but you never.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's interesting. I didn't know Glenmorangie used Elijah Craig barrels. That's cool though. Those are quality things. I like their. I'm not a big bourbon guy, but the ones that I've had from Elijah Craig have been pretty good.
Well, that's Heaven Hill, so they're probably Heaven Hill bottles. I mean, I didn't know they were specifically for the Elijah Craig line. Wait, what was that? I'm sorry, you just missed that.
Sorry.
We're in the EU, but have too much waiting for the tariffs to go away for the auction. Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. Hopefully, a lot of these tariffs and all this crap will go to the wayside here before long. You would think the first thing that the new administration would try to get rid of is some of these tariffs, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not, or how.
Well, they've already signaled that they were going to. I'm not actually sure when that's going to happen, but
from what I remember hearing from Tom, the guy I usually deal with here in Maryland, he was saying that they usually go through these 3-month periods where they'll review the law. So every 3 months it'll come up for review. So hopefully, I think the last time I heard about this was like in a May month. So if it's like, April, maybe if they haven't done it this year already, definitely by May there should be some sort of review on the tariffs from the way I understood how the process worked.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Sooner than later, man. I said sooner than later.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling it when it comes to ordering. And a lot of these things that we like to get, you have to get like overseas. There's not really many options to get some of these specialized bottles that we all love. And if you're not paying for ABV, they're going to get you in another way. So, that's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah, totally. Oh, he's still going? Oh, I'm sorry. I keep fucking ignoring your DMs, bro. I'm sorry. I mean, he got it right after 3 times. He spelled it right after 3 times. That's fine.
Tariffs are likely to drop, but timeline isn't. I don't know. I guess we'll see, because he's been pretty much a good information recon guy, so far. So, we'll see how right or wrong he is. But I have a feeling he's probably going to be onto something. I bet you in May we'll probably hear at least, because he let me know one time that they renewed it. And then the next time they looked at it and they thought, well, we're not going to raise it, but we're not going to lower it. So he was really good about letting me know what they were doing with the tariff deal.
Yeah, sooner than later. That'll be fucking. It's been ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for the fact though, like the one thing that you mentioned, that Amroot that we're gonna pick up, like that one, we didn't even run into any of the tariff situation, right? Like that guy literally just had those sitting there for a minute, right?
Yeah. Well, I better get ready to head off here in the blue sunset. But I just wanted to thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it.
Always.
We're going to be looking at some Lagavulins here shortly, and some long rows. We talked about the St. Patrick's Day show and some Colomas, Balvenie. Edgerdour is going to be a great show. Tobermory. we're gonna be doing some rye and some Glen Grants.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do that the rye with the Pennsylvania rye. That'll be fun.
There's so much to look forward to, and Eric and I are going to meet up on Saturday to do another little trade-off,
little salsa swap action. Yeah,
and I've got a good amount to cover on some of these bottles, which is good news, and maybe even look at. I already got the fire and the dark and the light. I'll be picking up the ice hopefully here. This or next month from Highland Park too, and that's a classic bottle, 17 years, memorable taste. I'll just keep it at that, and can't wait to get more deep in the weeds with you guys on some of these old and new offerings that we run across. That Amaret's going to be really fun to do too, I think, on this side.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's so cool that you found that bottle, and we got a couple other fun ones coming up. So next week it's Lagavulins. We're gonna go back and visit the 16. We're gonna do the 18. We got the week after that, Long Rose. We're doing the 11 Pinot and the 13 Red Chilean Cabernet, blah blah blah, Sauvignon. That's 21 for little St. Patrick's Day Eve show. We're gonna do Napode Castle 14 triple wood or a double wood. Twin wood, whatever. They call it twin wood. It's double wood. We're going to do that. We're going to do Redbreast 21 and then some Kilhomans and those Balvanies to close out the month. So we got a lot coming up. Before you all sign off for the night, do my man Telex a solid. Give him the thumbs up. It helps out the show. It's been super fun talking to everybody tonight. Cohen, Jason Coates, Stephen Connor, Top Shelf Dustin, Malted Montreal, Don Holland, Andrew Page, all you fools. It's been great hanging out. T Squared. Who else? A bunch of folks in the chat. Cohen.
Also, Stephen, it's the Emirate Atama peated port cast. There's only like 300 or 400 bottles of this. I somehow got 2 of them at a 160-ish or somewhere around there. So this should be a really, really good one. I know it's going to be tough to get your hands on if you don't have one already. Hopefully you do. But, you do have the one.
Oh, Jason Goods.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a couple of those together, Steven. So hopefully you can join us. If you haven't opened it already, save it for the show. We'll definitely be having a lot of fun. I'm not sure when we'll be opening that one, but we can maybe move things around depending on when you might be available to have a little fun with this. That'd be kind of cool, actually, because that's one of those bottles that's hard to find and hard to find people to enjoy it with. Yeah, they only put them out twice a year, so it's
Tommy's already up in my Facebook DMs right now. Because he's my boy. I love him. He didn't like that I was throwing some barbs.
And I forgot to tell you, I found a really good deal.
Tommy, I'm just saying, it's always in good love. No, I'm not actually upset. I'm just fucking with you, Barley.
And one thing, Stephen Connor got. I was lucky enough to have a sip of the '83 Balbler from him, and I got a really good lead on getting one for around. I think it was like 400, believe it or not. So I'm going to pick up an '83 bottle for both of us pretty soon. So that should be really cool. And the '83, it's like a 34-year or some crazy amount of years. I can't remember how many years it was, but it's a very old version of the vintage Balbler I'm going to be picking up for us. So it'll be fun.
That sounds fantastic, man.
Yeah, it was not easy to pin down. We'll put it that way. For that price, that's a glorious dram. Have you ever had an '83 Balbler already, or
not?
Dude, you're gonna shit your pants. That's how good it is. In a good way. It's a great bottle. Steven's
looking forward to it.
Yeah, Steven's right. It's a great bottle. Well, thanks so much, guys. I think Eric's probably having a chat word with somebody right now.
I'm talking to my homie, man.
Oh man. Well, thanks so much, guys, for stopping by. Subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Also, subscribe to Malt Muser, so with your reviews if you haven't. Hey, subscribe to all these other guys, too. If Dustin's got a channel, subscribe to that. Malted Montreal, if he decides to get off his ass and do a fucking show, then subscribe to that, too. whoever else is out there. We appreciate everybody. Seriously, it's nothing but fun, and I look forward to this every day. I'm always like, when's Tasty Tuesday?
Sooner than later.
Peace, man. See you. Slancheva for now.
Well, man. Everybody stay well. Wear a mask. Stay healthy. See you next week.